So while this is fresh in my mind, I want to continue this story about me coming to his house to get my things. And he's he's starting to act like he's upset with me. And I knew that the reason I told him that I had somebody coming to get the tables and the cedar chest and some other bigger items that I had was because I just wanted to see his reaction. I just wanted to call him out. And I said, well, I'll take what I can take today. And he said, I'll pack the rest of it up for you. I don't want you bringing nobody here. I'll pack it all up in my truck and bring it up to you. And the argument, and I just came here to, I want my stuff. And I had this blanket, and he had a blanket. And we used to lay in bed together, and we would talk about these, your blanket and my blanket. And he would say, I like your blanket better. It's so soft. I love this soft. It's one of these concierge blankets. It's really soft. And he would say, look at our blankets together. They match. They're like they were meant for each other and all this stuff. All this bullshit that, at the time was like so pleasing to my ears. But anyway, I told him, I said, I need my blanket. Oh, you don't want to take that blanket. You don't want to take the blanket off of the bed. I said, yeah, that's my blanket, and I want it. I said, I need it where it was getting cooler weather, and I said, I want my blanket. So here's what had happened. Of course, I had mentioned earlier that he was hiding all my stuff from this woman, and I want to walk toward the bedroom thinking this blanket is going to be on the bed where it had been for the last 2 months. And of course, it's all packed up. But he stepped his game up, and instead of hiding my stuff in the closet, because I guess maybe he was scared she would start snooping around when he wasn't home, he had taken all my stuff and put it in his outside building and locked it up. So he had to walk his sorry excuse for a human ass out to the building, unlock the door, and uncover my stuff that he had hidden out there under tarps and, whatever junk he had in this building, dog food and stuff. There's my belongings, my cedar chest that was an old cedar chest, my grandmother's sugar dishes and things that I had that were precious to me. And it's all in the cedar chest. It's all in cardboard boxes. And there's my blanket, out in this old dusty, dirty outdoor building. And I felt like that was a metaphor. I didn't get it at the time. I was just so upset and mad. But now looking back on it, I see it. That was the way he had treated me. And I've said this several times. I do not believe these people discard you. They store you away just as he had stored my stuff away. He knew that eventually that I would come for that stuff. And he was so arrogant that instead of just packing it all up and sitting it by the back door, he knew she was going to see it, so he had to hide it from her. He's trying to maneuver his way between two worlds. And so he hides my stuff, just like I'm 100% sure now that he had hid her stuff the day that he brought me to his house to have sex with me in her bed while she's still living under the roof with this man and telling me that she was gone and he'd hidden her things. He probably hid them in that bathroom. That's the reason why he didn't want me to go in there. And so he walks out there to the building. He has to do this in front of me because I'm not going anywhere. And I told him, and he's like, I've got to get ready to leave for work here. And that's why I came home early. I'm not going to give him any warning. And I'm just going to go up there and just see what's going on. And so he goes out to the building. He gets all this stuff. He loads it up in the truck, his bed of his truck. My clothes, everything, my son's pic. He's like, it's like the way a narcissist will do. No, I didn't mean that now. I didn't mean you couldn't come back here. I just meant that, you're the one wanted to come and get these things. And, but the thing is I had these 2 old end tables that I used in the bedroom as nightstands. And they had belonged to that friend that was related to him, and they'd come out of her grandmother's house. They were really old, and when she remodeled the house, she was going to just throw them out. And I said, you know, if you're going to throw them out, I'll take them. And so I had 4 of them, and I had left 2 behind, and the other 2 were there. And I didn't end up getting those tables, and I regret that to this day. And he paid me for the tables. He said, you know, and you know what it was? I found out later that he had told the woman that he had got those tables from the cousin, and that she had given him those tables because I had told him the story about how they had come out of her grandmother's home, and she was just going to throw them out. And he told the same story to the woman as though that was his story, and that she had offered the tables to him, so he couldn't give me the tables back, because then he would have to come up with another lie to tell the woman where the tables went. And the blanket story now. He didn't want me to go into the bedroom to look for my blanket, because I thought the blanket was on the bed, and I was just going to walk in there and get it. And I'd say if I had gone into that bedroom, I would see that all of her clothes, her perfume, makeup, and all that was back in there, and that's why he didn't want me going in there to get the blanket. And he'd hidden it because he didn't, you know, he was either going to have to lie to her and tell her he had bought it, or, you know, because I was getting that blanket one way or the other, because I'd paid like $70 for this blanket, and I loved it. And I said, you know, I'm getting this blanket, or, you know, I'm going to take something that worth that much money out of this house. Well, anyway, he packed all my stuff up and took them up to my family home, and he helped me to carry them in. And my mother was there, and she didn't even want to speak to this man. He was trying to be friendly to her, and she just like turned around and walked back in the house. She never wanted anything to do with him. I guess she saw through him or I didn't. But I, you know, accepted the fact that day that it was over between me and him. And I didn't cry. I didn't lay around crying, oh, I miss him, oh, I miss him, I wish I could be with him. You know, I did think that at times, but I was so grateful to finally be away from the lies, and to finally be away from the, just, you know, being the humiliated, jilted person in the town. And I was just trying to survive. This was when my illness had started. I'd been sick over the Thanksgiving weekend. I'd come down with strep throat and ear infection, sinus infection. I was sick while all this was going on. I was really not in any mood to deal with all this. And so the next day, I'm at my mom's, and I just stay home from work, and I sleep all day, and I'm stressed out, and I'm just, my health started going down. About a week went by, and he starts messaging me. You know, that place is still for rent that I told you about. If you want to rent it, I can talk to the guy. I work with him, and he'll give us a break on the security deposit and all, and you know, I'll help you. And what it was he was just wanting to get me in a place where he could come and do his dirty deed, and then go on to work, and then do it again in the morning, the next morning, and go home. And I just, you know, I told him, no, I'm not interested in moving that far away, and not even to be with me. What if I told you that a couple of weeks from now, you know, once you get settled in and everything, I'll move in there with you? I'm like, yeah, well, whatever. You know, you're going to bring the rest of the family with you, because, you know, they can help pay the rent and the bills, because I know he wasn't going to. And he saw that I was not going to be manipulated anymore. He saw that I was, and I think he tried to discard me or store me away earlier because he saw that I wasn't an easy target. And he saw that I was not going to lay down and take it and spend years being his side thing and letting him walk all over me. And he saw that I was going to stand up for myself. And he saw that I had family and friends who were going to back me up. And he couldn't isolate me from them as he had tried. So the message of this is, you know, it came to an end, but it didn't, because he did hoover me, and I did fall for it several times, you know, but my health was so bad during this period. And, you know, this is something that I've watched in other videos on here, as other people talk about how bad their health got, and they had like adrenal fatigue. Well, I did too. I stayed sick. I had eye bags under my eyes that were so big that it looked like I had been bee stung. My eyes were almost swollen together, and it wasn't from crying. It was just from stress. I kept a headache. I had just about quit walking at that point, and I was just so tired all the time. I sat around at work so depressed and down and just looking at my life and thinking what a mess I've made of everything, and the people that had been good to me and I had backstabbed them. And I'm feeling like, you know, I'm taking all the blame that he pointed on to me and poured over me. And you know, I'm to blame for his family breaking up. I'm to blame for his you know, child being angry with him. And if I hadn't have been there that morning when she come there wouldn't have been all this fight and stress. And, you know, I'm taking all that stuff and I'm soaking it in and I'm believing it, because that's what a narcissist does. They get you to feel like a piece of dirt, and you feel like you're to blame, and you're guilty of everything that they've done to you. You somehow are responsible for it. And I know that, you know, I was just glad it was over. I really was. I was glad it was over. But he wasn't over, because he came about several more times. And I'll get into that later. But I do have to get ready for work now. But, yeah, it was just, you know, if you have someone in your life like that and they're treating you this way and they're lying to you and making up these stories and trying to, you know, and you know in your heart that something's wrong, trust your gut instinct, trust your heart, you know, really just be prepared to take care of yourself and not depend on anybody. And don't get into anybody else's home life until you're absolutely 100% sure that it's right. And, you know, just catch these red flags that I missed and other people missed. And I'll get a little bit more into the illness and the situation with my health problems in my next video. Have a great weekend.